Hello, this is Mark here at Gary's Guitars in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and today's video is going to be a bit of a rant. And if you didn't see the title, it's called Live Music Sucks and It's Your Fault. And who am I talking about when I say it's your fault? Am I talking about the venues? Am I talking about the performers? Am I talking about the sound engineers? Am I talking about the audience? Yes. It's all our faults. So let's talk about why and let's fix this. And so this is a little bit of, man yells at cloud kind of thing, or, just, oh, get off my lawn, you kids. This is my old man rant kind of thing, because I've been performing live for 35 years. And at that time, I, was getting into a tradition that had already been going for 35 years about playing rock music live. So, I am a bit of the holder of some tradition as well, so I hope you'll take this seriously. And I hope you just don't take this too seriously, though. It's not really, I'm not trying to insult the people involved in these shows. But I want live music to live on. I think it's kind of the only thing we got left, which is, recordings have been taken away from us now. AI are making the recordings, and record sales have been taken away from us. And live music's what you still need humans to do, and where talent still matters. So who should I start with? Let's start with the venue owners. Well, this has to do with everyone, but we thought, so remember newspapers thought they were in the news business. And then Craigslist came around, and it took away the classified ads business from the newspapers, and the newspapers went, oh no, we're actually in the classified ad business, and we're out of money. We got to do all these cuts. They thought they're in the news business, but the news was just part of the classified ads business. And if you're young enough, you might not remember that, but that's kind of part of the downfall. And so we as bands thought we were in the music industry, but we were in the selling drinks and providing a place for people to meet potential mates business, the bar business. And that's what bars are for, to get drunk and to meet people who you don't meet at your home. Hopefully, romantic encounters. Well, people now meet their potential romantic partners through apps. And it's less important to go to public places to randomly meet random people. And people don't drink as much. Especially when I go, the 20-somethings, I go to those gigs the 20-somethings are at, they take mushroom chocolates and they sway gently in the breeze that doesn't exist, and just kind of let the music wash over them. I love it. Keep doing what you're doing. However, that does not contribute to the venue's business model. So what do the venues say? We're losing money. Let's stop giving dinner to the musicians. Let's stop giving them drink discounts. Let's get more bands on the bill so they can bring more people to the show. So instead of having one band do these, let's have 4 bands. And so, kind of trying to redo the business model that was going on, but do it in a way that isn't about music or about their business either, I guess. So we got to figure that out. And the venues that do that well make the music something special, and they do have a way. And when we get people in front of us, we can entertain them, and they will be glad they're there. So that's kind of the part of it the band has to hold up. Of course, you got to get your people there too. A lot of bands just like, we're here, nobody came. Well, you got to get your people, and you got to get them coming back. So let's talk about the performers in that case, since I started cutting on the performers already. I'm a performer of live music. I try to not break these rules. Don't be a jerk. You are lucky to be doing what you're doing. So get in tune with that. Be respectful. Be professional. Understand what's important to the people you're working with in that particular venue, and do that. So if people want their gear cared for well, then do that. If people don't seem to care about their gear, but they really seem to care about being on time, then do that. Find out what's important to the people around you you're working with, and do that. Don't be so selfish. People aren't really there for you. They're there for an experience that may include you. But get over it. here's something that I find useful. This is my advice for younger bands too. Bring something that makes the sound of your instrument, an amplifier of some sort, and have it with you. Running everything through the PA and monitors causes a certain kind of havoc. If you have to have your guitar blasting, bring a guitar amplifier and point it at your head. And if you can't take it, then no one else in the room can take it. So what I do see people doing is they'll bring a guitar amp, a Fender DeVille, which will take the paint off the wall. They'll set it down next to them, or right by their feet, blowing by their ankles. And they'll turn it up way too loud and then claim they can't hear it, so they need it in the monitors too. If you can't hear your amp, point it at your head. I just felt like Rick Beato for a second. Come on, people. The reason they call it a backline is it goes in the back. It's backline because you line up your amps at the back of the stage so that everyone on stage can experience that amp as well. Unless you're particularly deaf or you need yourself particularly loud, then so try to solve your problems and hearing what you need to hear without using the monitors. In-ears, that's a whole other thing. That's maybe also one of the things that's wrong with live music. The sound, when too many people are using in-ears, the sound coming off the stage isn't that exciting. I find this at concerts, like big concerts I go to, like mid-range, 1,000-seaters. And it's just kind of like, if you're up front, like, great, I'm up front, and I get to see this thing. And you're like, all I can hear is drums and that one guitar amp that the old guy's playing. I don't hear any bass, and I don't hear any vocals. And they have, they'll have side fills and little fillings, but you got to be about a third of the way back to experience the music, and there's nothing coming off of the stage. So, don't rely too heavily on monitors. Bring something that makes the sound of your instrument. Let's talk about sound engineers. Turn that crap down. Ain't nobody needs subwoofers. What else should I say? Don't wear ear protection while you're sound checking, because it changes the equalization you hear, and if it hurts, don't do it. Now, when the show's going, and if you're doing whatever hardcore or something like that, and it's got to be way too loud, then throw some earplugs in and turn up your master fader and get the audience excited. But it does a disservice to wear earplugs while you're sound checking. And try not to turn up things so loud. And try to interact with the band in a courteous way in which to say, like, maybe you could turn your amp down a little bit, and then we can put it in the PA a little more, and that would be even everything out. And wouldn't that be cool? It's such a hard conversation to have. When I used to do live sound, people would come in, and they'd be continuing the argument they had with the last person who did live sound with them. And so they were still litigating something that you had nothing to do with because something went wrong at another gig. So it's a tough situation to be in for the live sound person. But understand this. The person who's on stage has to create literal magic. Cut them some slack in that respect. Try to be, once again, my advice to the artist is the same as to be respectful. Identify what's important to the people you're working with and concentrate on that, not necessarily what's important to you. And try to have a dialogue, which might include turn down, or why don't you guys move your amps to the back, or if you can't hear your guitar, maybe because it's pointing at your ankle. But find a nice way to say that. Now, audiences. Why am I blaming the audience? Because you got to come to shows. When we play a show that's after 9, or it starts at 9, everyone's like, oh man, I can't do that. I just... People did it constantly. And remember when theaters, before the television, in the early 20th century, the theaters were everywhere. This town, which has one big theater in it, used to have like 6 or 8, and they'd be full every night because people needed something to do. And people would go out at night at 9 o'clock and watch a show and then come home and go to bed. It's not that precious. You can stay up late once in a while. Go to shows. Go to all sorts of shows. Go to the local shows. Go to the big shows too. Go see Taylor Swift. Go see the mid shows too. Go see the indie rockers who are killing it, who get to go play a 600 or 1,000 seater. But go to shows and be patient with the process. I know it costs a lot of money, but experiences are what we buy now. Now that everything's become worthless somehow and everything's on your phone, be prepared to go out and kind of celebrate the fact that you're going out to see music. And pay the ticket price, support the artist by buying their merch. All right, there's my rant. We can fix this. We can do it. I want live music to go on forever. It will, of course, but live music as I know it, you know, the concert, the rock show. So that's my input into that. If you have any ranty things to say, rant on in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. And next time we'll be back and talk about guitar stuff. But for now, just had to rant. Thanks for watching. Check out all the other videos here on YouTube, and we'll see you soon.